Good morning, everybody. Daniel Allison, the average dude. Welcome to episode 421 of First Sip.
4, 2, 1. Let's go, big dog Danny, the average dude. Alice said, "Pump day."
Day, Pump Day. Welcome to the energy bus into your work day. It's time to get your mind right. 421 days, Fred Blanton. Can you believe that? In a row.
I can believe it.
You can believe it. What's
Yeah.
that like every single morning getting your mind right with the average dude? Is that something that you look forward to about 7:50 every day?
You know what? It is such a good feeling. It goes by so fast. It feels like it's only about 5 or 10 minutes
And
underwater.
underwater. Hey, Antarctic Mike, I'm glad we've got the comments from LinkedIn. Of course, we're on YouTube and Facebook as well. First Sip, Vegas style. Let's go. Great to see
Ooh.
Antarctic Mike in the house. Is he still
Will
in?
Will Mike gamble? And if so, how? What does he do? Blackjack? Does he roll the
He does
dice?
not.
Does he
Mike does
pull the
not gamble.
lever? Ring, ring.
Oh man, those people will sit at those machines for a good long while, won't they? And
Yeah.
just
Do you
and
think they
keep
smoke cigarettes when they do that?
lots of alcohol, lots of cigarettes, unfortunately. First Sip Vegas style, let's go. Great to see Antarctic Mike here. Great to see Gary from Alabama. He's getting closer to us, Fred.
Gary, you might as
Yeah,
well come on over here to South Carolina, son.
come see us in South Carolina. That's what our guest did. He came from Philly all the way down to the South, South Carolina. There's Paul. What's the priority? Finding something witty to put in the comments first or liking other people's comments first? That's the eternal question. I
The
love
priority is definitely finding something witty to put in the comments.
it. Hey, we love you for your witty, Paul, not for your validation of
Not for
comment.
your kindness.
Not for your kindness. We actually like it when you're a little mean, if we're
Yeah.
being honest.
Especially to the average dude.
No. Hey, there's Megan Brown. She's probably got a great cup of coffee. I need your warm personalities this morning. It's freezing.
It's freezing in Charleston. It's probably 37 degrees.
I know it. I know. We don't know what cold is down here. Hello, friends. Vicky Watts on the bus. And hey, Mike, no gambling. Speaking engagement tomorrow and birthday here Friday. That's going to be fun. It's
Mike
going to
is
be
finally turning 50.
finally turning 50 years old. Is that how old he is? We'll go with that. Just got back just got back from Vegas, and yes, they still allow indoor smoking.
Yes, they do.
Woo! Well, that's not a good thing, but it is important to take care of your health and to take care of your mindset and to get your mind right every single day. And that's what we try to do. And occasionally when I'm out here on LinkedIn, I like to look for stories of transformation, stories that are inspiring, good, great people to come in, get on the bus with us, share that story. We all love great stories of transformation. And that's why when I saw our guest, Joe Diabanca, sorry about that.
Wow.
Diabanca. I tried.
Yikes.
Hey, he's good. That's the first thing he's gonna get on my case about. But Joe is a former bodybuilder who won Mr. Philly, Mr. Bucks County, squatted 600 pounds at one time, Fred.
600 pounds.
600 pounds, not bad.
I'm happy when I squat 225.
He transformed his body first, then realized he was going to he needed to transform his mind as well. Now he's a mindset coach who's helped over 2,000 people do the same. He's willing to say the truth and to help others do the same. And you got to love that. Mr. Joe D to the stage.
Gentlemen, Joe D in the house. Thank you for the warm welcome.
Hey, and if I would have known, Joe, if I would have known you better and known that you would have been cool with Joe D, I would have just said, welcome Joe D to the stage.
Joe D. That's me.
Hey man, well, great. Thanks for coming on the Energy Bus First Sip this morning. Let me ask you, what is it like coming from Philadelphia, moving down here to the South? How long have you been here?
6 years.
6 years. 6 years. And what brought you to South Carolina, Joe?
When the world went crazy 6 years ago, my wife and I ran as fast as we fucking could to our freedom.
Oh, wow. And found it down here in South Carolina.
We found it down here. Everything was open. Everybody was having a good time. Beaches were open. Here we are.
Yeah, it was like real life, wasn't it?
What's that? What's that, Fred?
It was like real life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. And so up in Philadelphia, I've got a question for you. When you were up living in Philadelphia, did you ever run the stairs there like they did in the Rocky movie?
I don't know about run, but I walked up the stairs. I used to slide down them when I was a kid when it used to snow. We used to get our sleds and slide down the Rocky steps.
Oh, now, well, that's cool. That's cool. And tell us about. I'm curious about your backstory. I know that you did a lot of bodybuilding and that sort of thing. Can you share a little bit about that history?
I got a lot of history, man. Bodybuilding, powerlifting. I grew up in a very gangster saturated neighborhood where the mafia was all over. I became a bodyguard for a very high level mafia figure and drug dealer. Lifted weights. I mean, I have quite the background, which you didn't know, did you, average dude?
That was going to be my question. So when you saw that happening around you at a young age, did you think, wow, this mob stuff?
Like if you guys ever watched the movie A Bronx Tale, I was Colojo. I was that little kid sitting on the stoop, and the wise guys would be on the corner. They would be on the corners, all dressed up. And I remember riding my bike by, trying to get noticed by them. You know, I would go into. They used to have these. Each family would have these candy stores in different neighborhoods. You know, and I would go in and buy some candy, but then they would be sitting in the background there. You know, and eventually they started to have me doing little things around the neighborhood, run numbers, take briefcases here and there. I didn't know what was in them. I would just do as I was told. And I made a lot of money with those guys.
That sounds like the beginnings of a movie, doesn't it?
I have quite the story to tell, gentlemen.
Yeah. Hey, we love stories, and I'm sure that early childhood probably brought a lot into your life that you have used later on. Is that fair to say?
Oh, for sure. Lots of life lessons, lots of business lessons, lots of knowing and learning about people, how the street works. It's a completely different business than anything else.
Absolutely. So there was a time there of this transformation. This Joe goes from being the bodybuilder and doing this sort of thing to getting into coaching and wanting to help other people. Can you tell us about that evolution, where that came from?
Yes, I wound up in a network marketing company, which I love the industry. Not really much to say about it, but I love the industry. And a friend of mine told me, you got to come see this company. I took a look at it. I said, I think I can do this. And I spent a year in that company. I didn't close one sale for 1 fucking year. Most people would have quit. But I didn't. I would have kept on banging my head against the wall if I didn't meet my mentor, who a friend of mine invited me to an outside event of the company. And I went. I was open. I was ready. I was open. And I walk into the room, and this guy was talking about trauma, emotional addictions, self-sabotage. And I'm listening to all this, and I'm saying, oh, my God, this is the man I'm looking for. This is the guy right here. Right? Like, I didn't know what all the blocks were. I wasn't closing sales because I had all these emotional blocks in my way that I never knew about. So I sat in that room that day and I said to myself, I'm going to hire this man. He's going to become my friend, and he's going to invite me to his home. Now, all the while, those were affirmations, right? I didn't know what I was doing, but I was speaking into my reality exactly what I wanted. I hired him. We quickly became best friends because we have a similar gangster background. So there was a lot of commonality there. There was a lot of commonality there right away. And I started to try. This man spoke 52 times a year around the country. So then I began to get in front of his face. I don't know why. I just knew I wanted what he had. I didn't know I wanted to be a coach at the time. So I started going to events, his events. And eventually I became his #1 protege. And I started to travel the country with him because I had built a network marketing business that was paying me 15, 20 grand a month residually. Not to mention the multi-million-dollar drug empire that I built as well. But that's a whole other story. So I started to travel the country with this guy, learning how to speak, back and forth to his home in Northern California, where he used to fly me. So this took a lot of time away from me and my family. Took a lot of time. I was traveling with this man. I was in it. And I would sit on the floor and listen to all his private conversations between him and his clients. See, that's the sacred space. That's where people don't allow you in. So technically, I did all my clinical PhD work right up front with him. I did 7 years of tutelage with this man. And then he finally said, "You're ready to go and do this on your own." 7 years I invested.
And in that time, and I'm coming up with more questions as I hear you talk here, but I'm sure you saw some patterns in people in those conversations that I'm sure you learned a lot. But as you're sitting with someone who's got a successful business, is already coaching people, and you're sitting there and you're taking all that in, that was probably a fantastic learning experience to see the patterns of people.
It was, and I learned that people are predictable. And all you really need to do is it's over and over again. It's thousands upon thousands of conversations that I learned the predictability of people. And it's all about predictability because basically, I mean, we've all been traumatized, whether it be emotionally, physically, or sexually. All of our parents fuck us up, right? It's just the way it is. They don't mean to. Trauma is multi-generational. So what your grandparents do to your parents then do to you, right? So it's not like your parents do their best because they don't. And it's not like they do their worst because they don't. They do what they do because it's what they do. They don't know how to do anything else. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Absolutely, it does. Let me ask you this. In that initial moment when you went in and you heard that guy speaking about this topic, here you are, you're a gangster guy. You're a confident guy. You've been working out. You've been doing all this stuff. And he's talking about all this kind of soft language like emotions and getting through trauma. Now here's Joe D. He's going to listen to that?
You know, I've always been a diehard romantic right here. I've always been a diehard romantic. So I was open. At that time, I was open, right? Because I couldn't close my ass with both hands in this company. I couldn't close my ass with both hands. Couldn't close the sale. That's what we call that. And I realized that, hey, I may be great in this area, but what the fuck is wrong here? Why can't I do it here? And I realized that I had feelings of less than, feelings of not good enough, from a mom who I had who was physically there to take care of me, but not emotionally available, right? So my mother was emotionally unavailable. So I've had feelings of less than, not good enough. And a lot of people who are on this podcast today have had a parent that they couldn't please. Well, that was my mother. That was another part of it. Not to mention between the ages of 9 and 12, I was sexually violated as a little boy for 4 years in a row by a guy in the neighborhood. Can you imagine how angry that little boy was?
Lots of anger.
Oh, lots of anger. Yes, sir.
Is that what took you to the gym?
What took me to the gym was being bullied as a kid. Good question. Good question. I was bullied. That's another trauma that I dealt with. So you see, guys are adding up here, right? Yeah. So we become the mind-body connection to the past events that have shaped our feelings. And what that means is the ego is going to consistently seek out predictability in the environment. So it's going to seek out more of what it already has, those lower level emotions. It's going to do its best to create situations and attract people to fulfill those feelings that you attach to past events that are familiar. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, it does. I want to go back to something that you said earlier, and now I've lost my train of thought on it. Let's do this. I've got a couple of things that I'm gonna bring up here just to get your thoughts, Joe. These are just like different topics, and I'd love to just hear what comes to mind, and that'll probably help me find it.
Okay.
People pleasing.
Yes.
Do you see a lot of people pleasing when you start seeing people that you work with?
I do. It's a lot of it. It's a codependent behavior pattern where people were taught to apple polish and be on their best behavior, maybe in front of their parents, maybe to, they have these feelings of less than and not good enough. And people pleasing enforces those feelings, because what happens when you're a people pleaser, you become what I call an angry giver. Right. And what that means is you give, and you give. And then you look around and you're like, what the fuck? Nobody's giving me anything. Nobody's showing me the love. Where's my love? So that becomes the angry giver. And that angry giver just keeps on giving and pleasing, but still with the emotions of guilt and shame that they're giving and pleasing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's this loop. It's this loop that people don't know they're stuck in with their trauma. They don't know.
They don't know, and we're responsible for our actions, but we're really unaware of why we're doing the things that we're doing.
Right. Exactly. And if we don't know why we do what we do, we will keep on doing the same thing over and over again, fulfilling a biochemical addiction to those feelings.
So how does somebody figure it out?
By having someone like me call you out on all your bullshit, because I can see around corners. I can see around corners. And I can see where your patterns are. I can see where the higher self and the lower self is splitting off. And I can teach you the conscious awareness that's required to be able to make that choice in the moment. Do I want this or do I want that? Do I want to people please or do I want to uphold my boundaries? Right? But most people aren't conscious enough of that space in the center.
Let me ask you this. So I remembered what I forgot earlier. You came from this rough upbringing. You had tough circumstances surrounding you. And a lot of people do, Joe, but they don't make it out of those tough circumstances. What is it that makes people that want to make a change, that can do what Joe did, versus those who are strong enough to put their hands on the truth? Let's say it that way, right? That are strong enough to look at the trauma within so that they can overcome it.
That's a great question. And unfortunately, some people never reach that point. It's the point where the pain has become great enough, right? The pain has become great enough.
I like that answer. When the pain becomes great enough, and then that immediately leads to a desire. I desire to leave this state. I no longer want to live like this. It's causing me too much pain. I've got to change.
Absolutely. I remember saying to myself, when I addressed a lot of my issues with my coach at first, the one big issue that I didn't address in full was my sexual trauma. And my coach at the time, now I can see back, he wasn't comfortable with addressing that sexual trauma, which is why we never did. So I remember sitting at my desk one time. I was still in that network marketing company. I said, I'm not gonna fucking do this anymore. I am so fucking tired of this. And I went straight at it. I started to unwrap all those years of sexual trauma, started to look at all the pieces of it, and started to become at peace with it. because I started to figure it out on my own because of the skills I already had. Does that make sense?
Yes.
But I remember that moment, like just being, you know what? I'm done with this. I'm going to go right at it. And that's what I did. I went straight at it.
I love that. You know, I have said that personal development and working on our mindset and all these things that we do, it's really about becoming strong enough to put our hands on the truth, to ask ourselves the questions that we don't want to ask ourselves, and to face that reality of whatever that is. And for you, there was that thing that kept coming back up, the sexual abuse kept coming back up. Nobody was talking about it. You had to be strong enough. Enough's enough. I'm ready to put my hands on the situation.
Absolutely. It's exactly what happened. I think that answers your question about.
And did that give you a sense of freedom, relief?
It did, you know, because I had to look at some hard things. I had to look at some tough things in that situation, which most people won't want to look at. Yeah. I had to look at why I attracted this man into my life. Now, don't confuse attraction with fault. I was a little boy. Right? I was a little boy. I didn't want this in my life. I don't want to be raped for 4 years in a row, but I had to look at why I attracted him. And the answer that I came up with is because my mom, even though she was there physically, she wasn't there emotionally. So I was looking for some kind of approval, some kind of something from outside that space. And I got that in a way from my violator.
Going to those places with yourself, understanding yourself, it probably does give you great eyes and insights into other people. You can see these patterns because you've looked within already.
Thank you. Thank you. I've been through the shit. Unlike traditional talk therapy, you know, where therapists are trained not to share their personal experiences with you. That's my bread and butter, man. Just sharing what I've been through with my clients makes me real. It makes me real to them. You know, I as you can see, I hold nothing back. So, yeah.
No, I think that's great. I think that's what we talk about it all the time. What resonates is real. The truth rings true. And we want to build trust with people. So we see someone, if they've got everything together and they've always had everything together, is that really, can they understand my situation? Are they going to really be able to empathize with what I've been through and where I want to go?
Right. Exactly.
I think that's great. I've got another topic here, unless Freddie's got something that he wants to pop up.
Let's see what you got.
Let's talk about this. What is real confidence?
Real confidence takes me to self-esteem. That's where confidence takes me. It takes me to self-esteem, believing that I am lovable. I am good enough. I am lovable. I am good enough. I am enough. All these feelings, that's self-esteem. I
agree with that. Fred, what do you think?
You know, I always like to call confidence a memory of success.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can trace back some wins to help build your self-esteem and help carry that confidence into certain situations, I think it's a big deal.
It is Absolutely. A big deal.
I've got keep promises you make to yourself.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. Keep promises you make to yourself. So every time we break a promise to ourselves, what happens? If you think about it, we all experience the same thing. We experience these emotions. We experience guilt that we didn't do it. We experience shame that we didn't do it, right? And when we break that, we experience guilt and we experience all these emotions again. But this is the ego. The ego gets juice. It's called the ego juice. The ego is there to protect us, but also have to understand how it works. It's addicted to shame, guilt, apathy, fear, anger, pride. It's addicted to all the lower level emotions. So as you break promises to yourself, you keep getting more to juice. You keep getting more juice, just like a drug. and you keep getting more and more and more and more of it. And it's really challenging. It can be challenging to let that go and come back to it, right? Because it's like a scale. It's like you have all these emotions. You have the lower level and the higher level, and the lower level being here. Eventually, you got to start taking bites out of the higher self to start tipping the scales a little bit. This is what I teach. Does that make sense, guys?
Yeah. I would much rather somebody else let me down than myself let me down.
Absolutely.
I don't like that feeling.
Right. Right. Thank you.
We know the standards. We know what we need. Once we start looking, like we said earlier, sometimes it's a matter of awareness, but then we get to the point where we know, maybe it's that we know that we need to look, that we need to become strong enough to start asking ourselves the questions, but we have that awareness. And so we know that if we don't keep our promises, we're going to lose confidence. We're going to lose self-esteem. It is such a big deal because it doesn't really matter. There's a lot of talent in the world. There's a lot going on in the world. But if we do what we said we were going to do, we're going to feel better about ourselves.
Yes, sir.
I mean, it's really that simple. How do you feel about some of these traditional personal development tools, things like meditation and writing, journaling, things like that we read? What is your kind of go-to to help folks make transformation, Joe?
I think everything has its place. I think everything you said is valuable, and I've done it all. I say whatever works, but what I do for my clients is, because I open up so many doors up here, I ask them when they're done with me to write down whatever it is that comes to them, because once I start opening those doors, things are going to start coming to them. Memories are going to start coming to them. So I have them write everything down. So when they come to the next call with me, we can then discuss what they've experienced. That's yes. What I find value in. But it all works.
Writing things down. Fred, what's on your mind?
Just to piggyback what he said, whatever works for you and whatever gets you to open up and be aware of your past experiences so you can get past it. It may be writing, it may be meditating, it may be taking an early morning walk, but whatever works for you, it will be personal. And what works for somebody else may not work for you. Just be aware of that.
I love that. Go on. Some people go on a run, and that's where they do their meditating. I mean, you don't have to do things just the way we really want to externalize. We really want to think, right, Joe? We want to think about our thoughts. We want to think about the things that we do and don't do and why we do those things, and really trace the wires of why. What brings you satisfaction when you're working with folks? Joe, you've been doing it for 15 years now. You've worked with over 2,000 people. What is it that keeps you engaged in this industry and field of helping folks like this?
A few things. I like to tell people that I'm in the business of the aha. And when my clients get those aha moments, like, oh my God, that's what really fills me up, and I have this group coaching. I have this group, a group of younger than me, young men who were with me since I started my practice, and I watched them. They hired me in their early 20s, and now a lot of them are, in their 30s now, and I connect with that group every Sunday. They're my boys. I love them. Just seeing them every Sunday, going from these young men that were lost, traumatized, and could not find their way, to being married, having kids, having jobs, having careers, being in that space with them really fills me up and helps to remind me, I did that. I help with that. These are my guys that are still here. I help them. Look at the boys now. That's the way I feel.
That's kind of gives you the momentum to keep going yourself. You talk about these things because we know these things are true. And so helping others helps ourselves at the same time. We become stronger by talking about these things. Would you agree?
100%. Yes. So, exactly right.
There's
Because once
someone
you
out.
bring it out in the light, once you talk about something, once you acknowledge something, once you shine the light on it, the ego's days are limited with it. Once you shine the light on it, baby, that's the beginning of it. All you got to do is start talking about it, and you're already transforming.
Shine the light under the. You remember when you were younger and you thought there was a monster under the bed or in the closet? You put the flashlight under there. You look, there's nothing there. You see the truth. I love that, Joe. Someone out there needs your help right now. How can they get in contact with Joe to start working through some things?
They can find me on LinkedIn very easily. They can find me on Facebook. They can find me on Instagram. I'm all over.
Absolutely.
I think you found me on LinkedIn. You got my phone number on LinkedIn, so that's how you called me yesterday.
I did. Hey, I told folks on the podcast yesterday, I said, sometimes when you see somebody you want to connect with, go ahead and check the profile. The phone number might be there, and you might have a chance to get somebody on the phone that you want to talk to and meet. And so I'm glad I did, because I've really enjoyed this conversation, Joe.
Same here, guys. I'm honored to be here with you all today.
Thank you. Thank you for your time. And I'm going to give Fred a final thought, because he does so good at summarizing.
No. We got Joe D here from a Philly Tale. I'm not taking the final thought. It's all his.
Hey, Joe, what's your final thought for the bus riders today as we start our day today? Or maybe there's someone out there that wants to make a change. How can we help push that quarter off the edge and get it in our pocket?
You have to. You don't have to do anything. You get to heal yourself. You get to move forward.
I love that. Hey, we're going to end it right there. Have a great day. We'll be right back on the bus, 7:55 live tomorrow, Thursday. See y'all. That's